Seán Kyne, first of all, like other speakers, like to commend the Minister in his work with the FAI in securing the Euro 20 games for Dublin. I think that's a huge boost to the economy, and as others have said, we'll hopefully see progress as well in relation to the Rugby World Cup in 23. I suppose each commitment to review and restructure state agencies and bodies to ensure that public money is efficiently spent requires legislation. And this bill is one such legislative measure which will merge the Irish Sports Council and the National Sports Campus Development Authority to create Sport Ireland. Leaving aside the aforementioned organisations, I have concerns with the sheer number and volume of state bodies that we have, committees, working groups and others. Last Sunday, the Sunday Business Post ran the first of a series of articles examining state agencies, which named the organisations, outlined their functions and listed the salaries of CEOs, along with expenses and the number of staff employed earning in excess of 80,000. I don't wish to diminish or be disingenuous of the important work that many public, obviously, sector staff do. However, I have to voice concerns at the duplication of tasks and the unnecessary existence of some agencies. The list of agencies is almost endless and leads to one to question as to why exactly are some of our government departments doing if agencies exist to carry out the same functions. In 2010, the Dublin-based IT consultant and entrepreneur William Campbell wrote a book entitled Here's How Creative Solutions for Ireland's Economic and Social Problems, and sent a copy to each of the TDs. And the book received recommendations from a number of journalists, academics and economists, and contains an array of suggestions on how to solve some of the problems facing the country. Thankfully, some of those problems have now been sorted with the growth of our economy and the work that has been done by the Minister of the Government. The chapter on quangos is very illuminating. It takes over 3 pages in a font that steadily reduces in size to list almost all of Ireland's state agencies. At the best of times, it's not appropriate to have such a plethora of state agencies and organisations, but when state finances remain in such a constrained position, as they have been for several years, it is ludicrous and must be challenged. And it must be acknowledged that the Government has made a start of reviewing and restructuring. With the Programme for the Public Service and the corresponding progress reports, the very establishment of a Government Department of Reform is evidence of the commitment to address the issue, which is being overseen by the Public Expenditure and Reform Minister, Brendan Howlin. Another minister addressing the issue is the Minister for Jobs, Enterprise and Innovation, Richard Bruton, who has spoken on the issue before the Oireachtas Jobs Committee, of which I'm a member. And that department has maximised efficiency and effectiveness by subsuming the functions of some state agencies, such as Forfos, within dedicated units of the department. This removes the sometimes significant administrative costs while preserving the core functions. Some of the good economic news and the job creation figures can be assigned to the reforms that are taking place. And at times, measures like this are portrayed as ways of minimising transparency or concealing work. However, I believe the opposite is the case. By bringing agencies back within their respective departments, their functions and tasks become much more examinable and accountable to the public because they are more readily answerable to all questions. We have a duty to ensure that each euro of taxpayers' funding is spent as efficiently as possible, and that involves maximising the duties and tasks carried out by government departments and by ensuring that each and every state agency has a clearly definable, identifiable and compelling reason to exist. The other aspect of this bill which I'd like to touch upon is the importance of funding for sports and recreation, the knock-on benefits for sports and recreation that accrue from such spending. These obviously include health benefits, financial benefits and community benefits, and like others I'd like to commend the Minister in relation to the sports capital programme that he has initiated since he became a Minister, and the positive effects that has and will continue to have both in terms of the local economy and also the health of our communities in terms of participation and combating obesity and health problems. Just one issue that maybe there are plans that I don't know about, but just something that's worth considering is that of a national sports museum. Those of us that have lucky enough to go abroad at times would have visited sporting museums, which encompasses every sport in the country, whether it be in Sydney or elsewhere, and it highlights the achievements and the great traditions that are within those countries. And obviously we have a great tradition here in Ireland, a rich history of sport, both national and international. And a museum like this would allow visitors to get a feel for our national identity, our uniqueness. It's a sort of a feel-good factor to share our sporting history and our sporting successes. And if you look at, for example, and it mightn't have been too popular in relation to Sky Sports broadcasting the GAA, if you look at the reaction internationally from people who are seeing particularly hurling for the first time, it's a huge boost to one of our native games. So I'd ask the Minister maybe to examine that and look at that as a consideration for future capital investment.